we're not live because I broke everything, and we are live, but my camera's broken. So let's address the elephant in the room. My camera is broken, but we are live, and I'm here, and you guys can hear me. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions in the world of Web3 and gaming culture. I'm your host and Marine of Team Ambassador Jim Kieran, and it looks like they got that camera fixed just in time. So today we've got an incredible panel lined up for you. So grab your controllers, crack open a Mountain Dew, and prepare to get your game on. Let's go. Hey there, sauce enthusiasts. It's time to bring the heat with another electrifying episode of The Block Sauce. I'm thrilled to introduce our panel. You may recognize some of these faces. We've had them here before, and if you don't recognize them, well, you're living under a rock and you need to go watch our previous episodes, which are all available on YouTube. So, that being said, we have Mikkel, who is joining us, and remember, she is now working with Forgotten Playlands. More on them soon.
Hi. Hi. I'm just spacing out over here. Thanks for the nice intro. Just keep going. Keep saying nice things about Forgotten Playland. We can let it roll for a little bit.
Oh, we got an interview lined up with them for tomorrow. So keep eyes on the Twitter for when that might drop on YouTube. Just saying. And of course, we've got Nico with us. How are you doing today, Nico?
Yeah, pretty good. And, if you know me very well, then you're probably stuck in Web 2 because that's where I come from. But, it's time to switch to Web 3 now, okay?
Let's go.
And last but not least, we have a new face on the panel. We have Empress Rayon, which for now we're getting along. But as the show progresses and we start talking about Ronan, there might be a little hostility on the show. So hopefully she'll forgive me after today.
We'll see how this goes. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to talk about Ronan. We'll talk peacefully.
Oh, it'll be peaceful. You just might not like what I have to say. Nah, I'm not going to be too mean today. But we do have a lot of really crazy topics. Before we jump into them, you didn't really say a lot, though, Empress. How are you doing today? And tell us a little bit about yourself. I always give the first-time panelists a little window of opportunity.
Thank you. Doing great today. A little bit about me. I came from the Central Games way back in the day. So I know you don't like Ronan, so I wasn't back there in the days of Axie when things went on. So
I wasn't there for Axie, so
okay.
I missed all of that.
Got my start there, and I made a NFT project. That's what led to streaming. That's what led to VTubing and just kind of diving into the whole Web3 ecosystem. And it just kept evolving. And it's like, wow, now I'm like fully immersed here today. So yeah, that's me.
Sounds like a plan. So wait, do you do content?
I do content.
You didn't even show yourself.
She does.
I'm not very good at that. I'm a content creator.
She's a content creator in the space who plays games and has experience working with projects. There you go.
Thank you. He does my shilling for me. I appreciate that.
We have the job. Man. Sounds like.
So I'm not gonna jump into Ronan just yet. I want to give Empress a little time to simmer before we start roasting people. No. So. We're going to go ahead and jump into Yugo Labs. They are divesting Heavy Metal and Legends of the Mara back to faraway games. I feel like this was kind of news to everybody. I don't think anybody really saw this coming, but I also feel like there's no surprise either. Like
it was such a big hit. Why would they want to get rid of it?
Because they're not doing well, I would assume. I mean, have you seen anybody talking about them?
They hate it.
I'm not going to lie. I had not heard of it.
I heard a lot of 8 friends that complained about it nonstop. Like it's just a grind every day. They don't really know what the objective is. They just expect there's going to be some huge payout because everything Yuga does is based around airdrops for doing literally nothing. And now they're doing a ton of work for literally nothing. So it kind of flipped the Yuga model on its head, I guess.
I just don't think they've had success with games. I mean, everybody's like, oh, but Dookie Dash. Look, I didn't see a single actual gamer talking about Dookie Dash. I saw all the Web3 people and the Web3 gamers talking about Dookie Dash. And let's be honest, it's because Yuga has a name in this space. Anything Yuga does, this space is going to be talking about. But if any other name had tried to release something like Dookie Dash, do you think it would have gotten any attention like it did?
I mean, it depends on the marketing
racing.
behind it. Yeah.
Racing through a sewer pipeline, yeah. Like,
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of stuff I usually play. You know, I'm kind of like a hardcore racing in serials, and that's kind of like the games that I play. I haven't heard much until actually someone won something. So until Orangey actually won something, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a Web2 normie. And I was like, oh,
he was.
Yeah.
We've red-pilled Orangey.
He's here now, for better or for worse. All I see him tweet about is meme coins, though.
Look. So I'm an Orangey fan. I like him, but we have a problem, and this is not Orangey specific. I've been in this pitfall with creators that come to this space being led by the wrong people. And that's why you see legitimate creators. I was there. I was all over Meta Ops. I was talking about their token. I was talking about their floor price, and I'm sweeping floors. Eventually, you start to realize what is worth and not worth your time and discussion. Yeah. And I'm hoping that once Orangey kind of goes through this phase, like many other creators before them, that they'll kind of start to realize the same, or they just want to be a degen Web3 bro. That's also cool. Everybody has their different tastes, but I'm a gamer and I like gaming content. I don't care about your tokens or anything like that unless I'm trying to buy them to use in the game,
You're like the purest gamer I know, though. Like, I
like the tech. You're not wrong. And the thing is, I do actually try to adopt some of the degen mentality. Like, I want to make money. Who doesn't want to make money? Let's be honest. But I'm also, my moral compass is like, making money at the expense of others is kind of the gray area. Like, if I'm degenning into a project, I know other people are degenning. Like, that's the PvP element, right? You're playing. You got to know when to get out before everybody else starts getting out. And
financial PvP.
It is. It really is.
Real world, though. I don't know.
It is. This is the reality.
Exchange PvP. Yeah.
We're playing in the real world economy, just the way we say play these play economies. So forgive yourself for participating and trying to take care of it,
But I understand that. But for every winner in these situations, there's always losers. Not everybody gets to be a winner. So not only am I gambling if I start, let's be honest, it's gambling. It's no different than the stock market. If I go and buy stocks, I'm gambling on whether price goes up or down. This is not a Web3 exclusive thing. But every time I win, knowing somebody else lost, unless it's a big corporation, I don't give up about them. But if I hear my friends lost, hundreds or thousands of dollars while I made like 500K or something like that, I'm gonna feel guilty as hell.
But it's entertainment, and these are entertainment dollars. So imagine that they either spend $50 playing a game or $50 going to a movie. It doesn't matter. They came to, and that's the mentality we need to have. We're coming here to be entertained. If I win a little bit, great, and if not, that's the only way I go to the casino.
That's why I'm about the games.
Yeah.
That's why I'm about the games, though, is because entertainment, nobody loses. If you don't enjoy the game, go find another one that you do enjoy. We all get to win. And if I gain money from playing the game, cool. Okay. If I lose money, well, I'm already losing money playing games anyway, because that's what that's what gaming has kind of evolved into.
And you lose at the movie theater every time. You pay for the entertainment value. And that's what we should be paying for in games, maybe not so speculative. Just go assuming you're going to lose it. And everyone's going to lose it, and there's going to be
wait. Web3 gaming is a casino. Okay. Damn it.
To be fair,
and if you know what it is and accept it for what it is, it's okay. Like, we're not all going to get rich. Like, we're selling this like wag me 1000x tokens. Like, it's little bits, right? It's like going,
It also doesn't help that a lot of the launches I'm blocked from being a U.S. resident, so I don't have the option of getting in super early. So I essentially have to buy dips off of a decentralized exchange and then do a whole bunch of jumping hoops to even extract. So it's like, is it worth my time? If I can make 6 digits, that's worth my time. If it's below 6 digits, is it really worth my time to jump through a bajillion hoops to make maybe $100?
Well, it's not. Well, yeah. I mean,
Well, maybe it's relative.
It depends on where you're at in the
Yeah.
world, but $100, the amount of hoops that I've had to jump through just to cash out, not even 100.
yeah.
Let's say $50, right?
Yeah.
As a U.S. citizen, because the only way I can typically cash out is to get it on a centralized exchange, but not.
Yeah.
The centralized exchanges don't support every single token. So there's usually bridging involved, swapping, chain jumping. There's all this crap involved. Then you finally get it to your wallet. And after all the gas fees and everything, you're probably already down 20%, if not more. And then you go to cash out the fiat. And then there's another freaking transaction fee on top of it. Oh my God. Well, that's why if there's a good use case, it's no different than V-Bucks, Riot Points, COD coins. I'm buying the token, not expecting to cash out, right? And that's why I keep telling people, like, give me a reason for the token. Don't just say we have a token and then you expect me to buy in. That doesn't work that way. Give me a reason. Can I buy skins with it? Can I boost my character stats? Do I need it for the in-game economy, like the auction house or whatever, for example? Is it the in-game currency that just happens to convert to fiat? Like, give me actual utility with your token. Don't just throw a token and expect money. And that's the problem that I think a lot of people are kind of having right now is I don't know if you guys have seen it on Twitter, but it's like every day there's a new TGE announcement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not every game needs a token. I'm just saying.
Well, that's not degen enough.
I know. And the VCs and stuff are like, where's your token? Where's your token? And these games are like, we don't want to have
That's
one.
true.
And they're like,
That's
well,
100%
you're not getting
true.
our money.
Well, they need the P2A. They need that airdrop. That's like the marketing hook. The marketing hook to get people to play your game.
It's
I
quite
think
Italian.
teams
That's
are
true.
doing it to get funding purely, right? Because like raising right now without a token, they are so much more hesitant to invest, right? Because liquidity is not going to come for a couple years down the road. And if there's a TGE, they can at least pull some off the table. So personally, fundraising, we found that to be very true. They favored projects that had a token attached to it.
That makes sense. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just the reality. That's what teams might have to do to get funding. So they have these tokens that have no utility.
Well, the problem that I see there is, why not stay in Web 2 then? If we're already beholden to shareholders and investors and stuff as it is, and we're already having to cater to their demands to make games, and that's been a big complaint, I thought we were supposed to solve that over here.
This is a transitional period, and we're still giving ownership to gamers. We're building a new economy. We're not going to go from like A to B directly. There's a million stops along the way.
Yeah. There's like long-term promises as well, yeah. But it's also like tons of studios trying to be opportunistic about it. You know, there is a phase, everyone knows it, everyone talks about it, and everyone's like, if I don't do it, then, you know, maybe never again. So there's quite a bit of a pressure. I guess the question is also like so many small studios and small teams, they can make a game or a token, but doing both at the same time, that's challenging. I honestly, I respect.
You can spin up a token in like 4 hours if you know a good
When block sauce token.
Yeah, just
send it to me.
Just go spin up a new token. Make sure you know the devs. Make sure you know the devs. I think we've learned from recent experience that you can't just go hire a dev on Fiverr and expect everything to be okay. You actually need to know your devs.
Devs in gaming? What are you talking about? We don't need devs. We don't need devs. That's all crazy. You know?
I'm just saying.
Then.
That's too Web 2 to actually know who you're working with.
I know.
We're all anonymous
Right?
here.
How dare I not promote anonymity? I mean, we only saw what was it? $64 million get stolen?
Yeah.
Something like
Do
that?
you remember in 21 when there was like that
damn.
huge debate about doxing or not doxing? It was like a huge deal, and people defended anonymity, and then we got run to 80 million times, and now it's like, you're not doxed? What?
Oh, I'm not doxed, but look, I'm not doxed. But if I did anything bad, like my name would be tarnished anyway, right? Then I'd cease to exist as a content creator. So I mean,
yeah.
But
That's all
behind the
unchanged.
scenes, with devs, like I get that.
I mean, I'm doxed. It was a requirement for me to be on a panel at some point, and I honestly feel like being doxed gives me more legitimacy because people know who they can hold accountable. So I'm not going to go out of my way to like scam people or anything like that. That's kind of my whole brand essentially.
Yeah.
I'm open, I'm transparent. If you're stuck holding some stupid $100 NFT that I pumped and talked about, guess what? I'm stuck holding the sumbitch too.
Yeah.
I don't promote stuff I don't believe in. I'm not here to shill. I'm here to promote legitimate projects and get people involved. If you get screwed over, I'm screwed over with you. We're side by side in this.
That's fair.
That feels right. I like that. That feels right.
So you go what?
It's like a movie scene, if you go down, I go down, and vice versa,
Yeah.
There's a lot of
You go
people
down
out
too.
there. The problem is there are a lot of content creators who may genuinely believe in a project. They promote it and everything, but they see the red flags and they'll immediately bounce and sell before saying anything, right? And I'm not one of those people. I'll tell you right now.
Down with the shit.
I work closely with Meta Ops. I promoted them, like I mentioned earlier, pumped their token, everything like that. I'm sitting on probably 40 or 50 NFTs that I can't even use because the game's essentially defunct. They've transferred hands. A new company's supposedly doing stuff with it. I'll believe it when I see it, but for now, I'm considering it a total loss. But for anybody that bought into it, I'm holding a bigger bag than you, I promise, because I spent a lot of money on that game. And I didn't fold. I held through. I believed in the team, and I was wrong.
Too nice.
We've all been there.
How many times have we been told? Too nice.
We'll forgive you.
I saw the writing on the wall, and I made posts like, "Hey, I'm starting to get a little iffy about this," but I was a diamond hand to the end, and I'm still diamond handing. And I hope their Unreal Engine 5 port comes to fruition, and I actually see the game because I did have a lot of fun with it, and hopefully the new management does them well. But I'm not here to rag on them the whole time. I'm just saying, we need more of that in this space. We need more people sticking by whatever they're promoting.
Yeah, and it's never too late. You can make another $50. That's pretty cool. And then reinvest everything into meme coins, and then turn it into 10K.
But how this relates to Yuga, though, I mean, when you think about it, first off, I don't know if these games had tokens. I did not play these games. I had no interest in these games from the initial announcements. As an actual gamer who understands mobile games and saw the writing on the wall, I knew I wouldn't have any interest in these. I'm not an idle battler. I'm not I can't stand those base building games and stuff like that. I keep playing them, keep trying them. Like maybe somebody will do something different. No, never happens. So nothing they have made so far has appealed to me. However, worth noting, they did not release, what was it? I think Other Side and Dookie Dash. So I don't think they're completely ditching the gaming scene.
No.
I think that they're trying to narrow down and cut spend. Because I think
friend of mine's team is running a lot of their display ads for the upcoming drop of Dookie Dash. So that's all full steam ahead.
Yeah. So I think this is them trying to save a buck by cutting off they're trimming the fat, so to speak. They're trying to hopefully refocus and maybe nail down their projects that actually have traction and aren't just clearly, I'm going to call it, mobile cash grabs, because I feel like that's what those two games ended up being. And hopefully Faraway Games can turn them around and make them something that players genuinely enjoy and are happy with and aren't bitching about all the time. But I literally, outside of the paid sponsors, I don't think I've heard anything publicly positive about those games specifically. Dookie Dash got some hype. Let's be honest. They got some publicity. It worked for them. But those games, I think they launched. There was the whole earning potential. Earning potential went, and everybody else went on it. So
what Web3 does best: hype, not product.
I think I made a tweet about that recently.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing is that if you compare to Web2, how many projects we go into soft launch and we just kill them like a month later? We're just like, it happens. Every day we don't talk about it, but some even big studios like Supercell, they are quite public about it, but it happens all the time. So when I think about it, it's actually Web3 gives you like a good opportunity to still make something out of a project potentially, to maybe a smaller studio that want to take it over. But I mean, that's the way I would do it if I had a studio and I was like, this game is not working. Let's just sell it to someone who actually believes in it. Yeah, sure, go ahead. But in Web 2, we just like, kill it.
No, you nailed a point that I've brought up multiple times, and that's launching too soon. Stop it. Oh my gosh. Like there's a game, I'm not gonna name and shame. They're currently in alpha. They're about to go into open beta. No, I like the game, and I'm not trying to drag them right now.
Okay.
I got my fingers crossed they pull off a miracle, but prove me wrong. You know who you are. But they're currently in alpha still, closed alpha. They're about to go into open beta, and I just tried the recent build, and it still feels like alpha. Like the only thing they've really improved upon, it feels like, for the most part, are the UIs. And the actual gameplay elements in Loop, still a huge problem. And I've been pointing this out to them since their very first alpha that I was available to test. And it still has not been fixed. But they're going to go open beta and release to all the Web 2 gamers at the end of Q2, supposedly. So they got a lot of work to fix in a very short amount of time if they're hoping for very positive reception. That's all I'm saying.
No,
Gamers are so open. Yeah.
Gamers are just not kind. Let's be honest. Like you have to have a really strong first impression. Now, I'm not saying no bugs should exist at all. I think we can look at Bethesda and be like, bugs done in the right way are acceptable, but this isn't a bug problem. I mean, there's some bugs, but they're not game breaking. It's literally a core design problem. So to fix your core design in less than a quarter.
Good luck.
It's scary.
Drop a token?
It's scary.
Distract
distract the gamers with the token.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just saying, if it were me, I would delay the open beta. I would get some more Web 2 gamers, not just Web 3. Get some Web 2 gamers, even if you got to pay them to come over and test your game and give you genuine, honest feedback. And hopefully that would be enough. Like, just delay it out, get that feedback, and then reiterate, because I'm willing to bet, based on my experience with the last test that I was in, they're going to jump in. Maybe you might keep them in the game for an hour, 2 tops, before they quit. I got a feeling that's what's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I want them to prove me wrong. But that's the problem with releasing something too early. It's not fleshed out. You don't have enough feedback at this point to figure out what is and isn't working. And I think they just need a little more time. The UI and overhaul and improvements, those have been great, actually. They did do good there. I'm just saying, like, the rest of the game, you kind of neglected during the alpha. UIs are pretty. I want to shoot stuff.
I think sometimes games get like really scared to delay, but like truly it's to the benefit of your whole entire game sometimes. Like, yeah, you said this date and it's coming, but just be transparent with us and we'll be like, okay, we'd rather have a really polished experience than, something that's half-baked.
Yeah, we made the decision at Forgotten to delay a month just to have a couple more games come out. Like, we made sure there was actual value to the community. Like, yes, we are not going to launch on this date. It was only going to be with 2 games. We're going to launch a month later, and we're adding 3+ more. So I think as long as you consider the community in the move and try to frame it in a way that's positive for them, they receive it a lot better than just saying like, oh, we didn't get our homework done on time.
Give a good heads up. Yeah, I mean, the only scenario where I could see like you really have to go is that this is it. Like you're close to the end of your runway. Release where you have try to verify if it's sticking, and you can go into another round of fundraising or just like pivot. But don't wait too long. That's the other thing as well. Is I think in Web3 it has been a mix of like too early or like too late, with not enough. And it's too late and you don't have enough to prove anything. So you're stuck. You can't even pivot. That's scary. That's like,
and there's so many variables in the market too. Like, we're so dependent on crypto, and some teams keep their treasuries in crypto. So runways change very quickly sometimes.
Yeah, because making games wasn't easy enough.
Let's add another layer of gamification here.
In Web 2 is like, oh, there's another game launching. It's gonna be tricky. And Web 3 is like, there's another game. And by the way, the market is changing.
And a gas wars because somebody else is like,
to add to the pile.
Yeah,
it's tricky.
Well, speaking of building and adding to the pile, Star Atlas has revealed their new game mode. I don't know if you guys are following Star Atlas at all. Their new mode. I'm trying to be nice-ish.
Not a fan.
Yeah, you haven't been.
So
it looks like just squads, right?
So here's the thing. I've been testing it out every so often, and realistically, the game development it feels to me as the player who is watching it grow, it's going way too slow. Way too slow. And we've been stuck on this map, the same map, since the very first test that I've been on. They come out with this new mode. It's 3 factions shooting each other and flying around the map and stuff like that. And you would have thought that with this new mode, there'd be a new map, and there's not. And it's just the same freaking map we've had for years with a new mode. And mind you, it's a shooter mode, which in Unreal 5 is not hard to implement. This felt like the absolute lowest value add they could have brought to the game, because right now, this has been my phrase for them in the past couple of weeks when I comment on tweets. Right now, it's Star Atlas without the stars, because you can't fly in space. You can grab a ship and like kind of fly around the planet. I shouldn't even say the planet, the map, I guess. And it's not.
They've had
bad,
hard times though, right? They got like their treasury got all rugged. Like they've been playing a tough roadmap.
But they've also raised way more money than most of the games in this space. They are the top game on Solana.
Game.
Yeah, so is Star Citizen. And guess what? They've got like 10 years of dev time on them. Yeah. How are you going to compete with a game that is 10 years ahead of you, has a ton more content, fully explorable space, dogfighting combat, PvP, PvE, racing, cargo hauling, mining, industry? There's so much shit already in Star Citizen. I feel like Star Atlas is just too far behind. And the whole you can buy, sell, and ownership aspect, I thought Star Citizen would be fantastic for Web3. Don't get me wrong. After playing it a couple weeks back, I was like, this is actually, I could see this being a Web3 game. I go and Google it. Space sim players do not want real money trading. They do not want Web3. They do not want blockchain, and they do not want crypto and NFTs. So the target audience for Star Atlas doesn't even want what they're trying to sell right now.
Wow.
So you got a game that's got 10 years of build time on you. Well, I've known this is a problem. I used to be a big EVE Online player, and real money trading was a problem in that game, and a lot of players were upset about it, rightfully so. It screwed up the in-game economy. Because if you can just buy... Think about it. If I can just go buy the biggest, baddest ship with real money, what does that do to the in-game economy? It inflates it, because everybody's suddenly taking your game currency and conflating it with real-world money. And they're like, oh, well, if somebody can just spend $10, then it's worth this much currency. Versus, oh, well, it takes somebody 10 hours to grind this much currency. This ship's probably worth 10 hours worth. You see what I'm saying? It's no longer about the value in the game. It's about the value outside the game. And that's why these sim players do not like that, because the whole point of a sim is for your entire fantasy to be in the game. It is a simulation.
Yeah.
So
that's a very good point.
I want Star Atlas to succeed. I really do, but I cannot sit here as a space sim player myself, look at this and go, yeah, I want this. Especially with how long it's taken them to even get these basic systems in place. I cannot foresee them competing with a genuine space sim at the rate that they're going for a minimum of another 10 years. At which point do you think they're going to have been faded at that point? Do you think they're even going to make it 10 years? Do they have a 10-year runway? Because last I heard, their runway was a little thin after they got rugged, because you did mention that they lost a lot of money in the markets, and that's true. But that's why you shouldn't rely on the markets for your game funding, in my opinion. That's my take.
Go ahead, Empress.
Oh, dang. Well, I haven't played Star Atlas.
It wasn't as harsh as I was thinking.
I haven't played Star Atlas, but just kind of on the outside looking in and hearing what you have to say about like the gamers economy, I feel like Pixels had a similar issue, right? Because we had 2 currencies going on at the same time. And their solution kind of was, I think Star Atlas has 1 soft currency, right? That's the in-game. The Pixels did that. They made it a soft currency, and then you could use the soft currency to earn the crypto. So they kind of like made them both have two different utilities in a way, because now the actual token pixel you can use to buy guild shards and get access to exclusive events and things and resources. So maybe they just need to find like a purpose based for both, maybe, to help that out.
I'm not sure on their Web3 side. I'm just looking at it from the funding and the current development status and the progress that I've seen. When it comes to the Web3 side of things, I don't know how things are going for them, honestly. I know they got their mini game. I think it was, Sage Labs or something like that, which supposedly is doing pretty well from my understanding. It's generating a lot of transactions, and if I understand correctly, that's also why they're one of the top games on Solana, if not the top game on Solana. So I think their Web3 economy is probably figured out. It's just a matter of, do the players that are interested in this genre actually care about the systems that they're providing? I feel like the players, based on my personal experience in browsing Reddit, so take Reddit as you will, players do not want these systems in their simulation games. They simply don't.
Okay.
And that's what it boils down to. So I think the only people who are going to genuinely be interested in Star Atlas, assuming they can get something that actually does cater to space sim players here in the next couple of years. Again, I don't think that's likely. I think it's going to be hitting the Web3 degen market. I don't think this is going to go mainstream whatsoever.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's quite interesting what you said as well about like the new game modes, but then no new map. I mean, I find that quite interesting because it just reminds me also like how often we don't really think about what we want to achieve with what we're doing with free gaming. We see a lot of releases and like, what are we trying to prove here? Are you ready to prove what you really want? So if you have a racing game and it's a corridor map and, it's an FPS game, but it's an open map, there's a bit of a clash there in between the experience you're trying to provide and the content you're using to provide it. Are you actually getting the right learnings to make a decision, or are you trying to soft pivot, making like, okay, let's see if it sticks, and if we see that people get excited, we quickly double down on that? I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of reasons behind that as well. It could be that let's see if people like shooting over racing, and then if it's that, then will be the map, which I would completely understand and be like.
From a comment that I received on Twitter under one of my posts, it's because it's just a test of their tech. It's supposed to be testing the servers, and they're working with some new technology that can support hundreds, if not thousands, of players in a single instance, which we've heard multiple times, and Star Citizen's already utilizing. Star Citizen is one giant persistent universe. So when I'm flying around, all the other players are already flying around. There is no like 16 player lobbies or anything like that. Like, this is all people in one persistent universe, hundreds, if not thousands of people already. I know Other Side, if I remember correctly, is also doing something similar. So they're like, well, we're testing our tech. Well, why not just use tech that already exists? Why does every game feel like they have to reinvent the wheel to get their game off the ground? Is it just licensing? Is it a budget cutting system? Like, I'm not a developer, so I don't know where they're coming from here, but the tech's already here. So what are you testing?
Yeah.
People don't know the tech exists a lot. Like, that was a problem that we saw at Sedona all the time. People would pay to have wallet integrations done to their games. We talked to one team that paid $250,000 to have a wallet and integration done with a chain. There's SDKs that will connect you. Because these people don't know. They come in from Web 2 with zero crypto experience, and they're not networked. So they don't hear about these products. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. We saw so much waste.
But I mean, look at all the MMORPGs out there that are using, they're called mega servers. I know World of Warcraft started doing this with their classic. I believe Elder Scrolls Online does it as well, where essentially there's like server layers, essentially. Mm-hmm. You already have hundreds of thousands of players playing on the same map at the same time. They just might not all see each other unless they're partied up and in the same instance, right? So this is taking the tech a step further. And the only two instances I'm aware of, again, Star Citizen and Other Side. So I don't think it's necessarily that it exists. I think it might end up being proprietary, and that's probably why they're having to do their own thing. So I'm going to give them a little leeway here.
Wow.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to pitch that the tech is revolutionary, make sure it doesn't already happen somewhere else.
Or it could be that the tech they are building is what they actually need. Because there are a lot of tech out there where it's like, look at all of this. And then they're like, yeah, but I only need 10% of that. The rest is actually a bit of a challenge to use around what we want to do. So that could be that as well, where they go and it's like, we need to build our own thing. It'd be easier to support and it would be more, tailored to the game we want to make. But you were talking about stars, maybe they're aiming for the moon and then they try to reach the stars. We'll see.
I'm not a developer. I'm going to preface this with that. I'm not a developer. But I forgot where I was going with this because I wanted to make sure people were aware.
It was more
this opinion.
not a developer. Sure.
No, he mentioned something that triggered a thought about Star Atlas. And now I've just completely spaced it. I've been having that problem a lot lately, apparently.
We've just fudded them too much.
It wasn't. This actually wasn't fudding. Oh,
yeah, it was being
the tech. Okay, so when testing the tech, though, they're testing it with a bunch of people just shooting on the ground. Wouldn't it make more sense to have a more complete test with, I don't know, space flight and combat and the other systems that are supposed to be in the game?
Maybe that's next. Maybe it's next week and you just don't know about it yet. Maybe this is phase 1.
I mean, probably.
I have no idea.
No, you're probably right. I'm not. I'm just playing nitpicky at this point. I want. Look, I've got these new joysticks that are used for space flight, and I can only use them in like 2 games right now.
Okay, the truth comes out. This is what the whole segment was about. It's a desperate appeal for somewhere to use a joystick.
Yes,
come on, man.
Give me the space combat.
Oh my God.
I want to play the space part of the space game. Oh man.
Wait, I have a question about Star Atlas. So we're talking about like, okay, does it really need to be a Web3 game, basically, right? If the players don't want it, right?
No. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be well received because players don't want it. So I could be very wrong. And with how long, again, it takes them to develop, sentiment towards the Web3 stuff could definitely change within the gaming communities over the next few years, if we're lucky.
What's the difference between a lot of the games? Yeah, but it's a good point though. But what's the difference between that game and tons of other games that are not space simulation? I mean, I've looked at reviews on Web2 games, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want NFTs or tokens in that game; it wouldn't work." It's what's so different between that one and any others, besides a very vocal Reddit community?
When it comes to Star Atlas, I honestly do not know. Again, I tried it, and I tried Star Citizen when I first got into it, probably like I think it was 2017, and right now Star Citizen in 2017 already had more to do than Star Atlas in 2024. That is the development gap that exists here.
Yeah.
I am concerned that no matter how much interest they may generate, no matter how much hype they're going to build in Web3, I don't think they're going to break through and cut through the noise, because we also got to realize No Man's Sky is still releasing updates as well for the space sim community. You got Elite Dangerous that has been releasing updates and DLCs over the years.
So what would you do if you were the CEO of Star Atlas right now? What would be your play?
I would find out what the heck people actually want. Like, do they just want the in-game economy? Because right now, as far as I'm aware, the ships are all NFTs. That's the most I know about it, right? I'm not going to go buy a ship for a game that I can't even use it and actually do anything with it in right now. And that's the problem with the state of their game.
There's like a danger of asking community about things like NFTs and tokens, though, because they don't understand tokens. Like those are highly
their whole community is already their whole community is already Web3.
Yeah,
their whole community is already Web3.
But they still don't know. No, but they still don't know how. Like Bored Ape holders just wanted free airdrops forever, right? Like communities don't know what's best for the project sustainability. That's the CEO's job to like steer the ship, right? So like, how would you steer that ship without?
Here's my
with a joystick.
Right before this show, and I can actually go pull up the receipts and prove it if I have to. Right before this show, I dropped $300 on a Star Citizen ship. Why? Because it's a big boy ship. It's got a lot of guns on it, and I get to fly it in the game right now. Star
Do you own it?
Citizen has been selling ships that people can't even actually use. Like, yeah, you might be able to summon it and jump in it and fly around the little planet a little bit. I'm over here dog fighting and like I'm a fighter pilot and flying around. Oh shit, he's behind me. You know, I'm having fun. I spent $300 to have fun on a game that there is zero return for. I do not earn from this game. I cannot sell my assets. I cannot do anything because it is fun. And right now, that's the part that I'm not getting out of Star Atlas. Nothing about it is fun. It is a giant tech demo.
NFTs aren't even like, what if NFTs and tokens were never it? Like for Web3, like we're just misapplying the technology completely.
Well, I think there's use cases. It's just, yes, we are misapplying it, I feel like. Like, why does every single character skin have to be an NFT? Why not have direct fiat options built right into your game? Guess what? New revenue source without having to worry about the NFTs. Yeah, they can't buy, sell, or trade them. I mean, they can't sell or trade. Of course they can buy. But at that point, that's kind of my idea of what people have called Web 2.5. We still can use Web 2 monetization avenues to keep games afloat. Battle passes, regular skins that I don't have to spend $400 to buy. That's a big problem with Web3 right now is these secondary markets. We think that this is what players want, but the speculators and the degens end up driving out the genuine players because the cost is too high for entry. I'm not spending $500 on a skin, even if it does get me earnings in game, because the amount of time I'm going to have to grind to even break even, I'm probably going to quit the game long before then.
Yeah, I think that's not a good motivation for a game, if that's why you play,
I'm playing to have fun. If I spend on something, I'm spending for entertainment. That's what Web3 gaming is at the end of the day. To me,
I think the value for me is like retaining some value. It shouldn't be the 1000Xs that we're looking for. It's just, I mean, we talked about it on the last show I was on,
GameStop.
Having a game to be able to take back and just get something back for it when you're done. And if we could just apply that principle, like I'm done with this game, let me sell my pass. You know, maybe that's
and you know
friends we made along the way the whole time.
And you know, I said this before. And what can Web 2 do to fix this? Flip of a switch.
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing value, we're giving value back. We could have that in Web 2. They're not going to give it up, obviously. Not unless Web 3 really takes off and the land is forced. But right now, the only thing stopping me from selling my World of Warcraft characters or account is terms of service. That's it. There's gray and black market websites for these things. People are already doing it every day, breaking the terms of service, of course, and they're risking their account every time. Yeah. We don't have that problem in Web3. That's where some of the benefit is. Like I said a minute ago, GameStop, right? I go buy a $60 game. I take it back to GameStop after I beat it. I'm not expecting to get $60 back. I'm lucky if I get $8.
Yeah.
That's
the way the normal economy functions. Very rarely do you buy something that appreciates in value. There's just not that much that appreciates in value.
It's a collector's thing.
And we're expecting, for some reason, unlimited. I mean, we can just keep making these assets with absolutely no effort or cost, basically, and we expect like everything to keep. I mean, that's not it. That's not it. We've been doing it wrong, guys.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I think for many of these projects is that it feels like a Kickstarter, basically. All those NFTs and everything that goes into that is like and I think the great thing you said earlier was like the game is not fun. I was like, yeah, but development at that stage, it's not fun. And I think that this is exactly what you're experiencing is like they are building a huge game, a massive game, which is why like all these roadmaps for MMORPGs completed in 2 years are absolute bullshit, but whatever. It's what it is. It's like huge, large scale games. And the way I see all these NFT sales and so on is like it's a Kickstarter, and this is how you should look at it. But yeah, somehow people are also like, well, we also need the game to be much better so that my NFT has bigger value. That's the problem. The problem is people want bigger value on NFT all of thin air through game development, which takes time and is very complicated. There is a paradox here, which I think has been a problem of the early age of Web3. I was like, yeah, we're gonna promise all of that in no time so that your NFTs can have a lot more value. And people were looking at it and be like, what are you smoking? This is not gonna happen. And this is also why a lot of people in Web2 look at Web3 now like, they're laughing because they're like, who are these clowns? These developers, they never made a game before. What the hell is going on over there? So I agree with you. I think it's like large scale competitors in Web 2. And that's the thing as well. You launch your game in Web 3 that is that big. And then you have guys in Web 2 making the same game, maybe for a little bit longer, minus all the frictions around Web 3, minus the temptation to have a token and so on. They're going to be much quicker. And they're going to make more money.
Well, moving on to the next topic.
Yes, your favorite topic.
Are we done?
Time to burn some bridges. Ragnarok.
Oh no, here we go.
Oh my god, I need to go.
Ragnarok.
Wait, let me get my popcorn.
As a game that they have announced they will be releasing. Now, I saw a thread. I don't know. This is the first I've started hearing about this new game, right? So if I get anything wrong, you guys are free to correct me in the comments down below. Maybe Rayon can help me out here. But not the direct studio behind Ragnarok. I guess this is probably licensed or something like that. There's a new studio using the Ragnarok IP that is going to be building a Web3 game on Ronin. Now, my first thought, because everybody's hyping this up and, oh my God, IP, we got a well-known IP over here in Web3. Yeah, we had that with Zoids, and they were also on Ronin. Where are they at?
Yo, I liked Zoids. That game was so much fun.
Yeah, well, guess what happens when you build on a permission chain and you don't do what they tell you? They pull the plug.
Damn.
That's my beef with Ronin. That I like Zoids. Zoids was a fantastic IP. I was glad to see that they came over to Web3, and then Ronin did them dirty as hell. Why is Ragnarok following suit? I got my fingers crossed for Ragnarok.
People make choices because of the incentives, and I think that's the games are following incentives.
Well, I was to say, like, Ronin, it's like when you come to Ronin, you get their community, right? So these games are coming here because the community is like die-hard fans. Like, when you're in Ronin, anything that comes out on Ronin, you're in. It doesn't matter really what it is. So it's like Kydro, right? I had never heard of it, never watched an anime. I know this probably is gonna ruin my name. Never watched an anime, never read.
I don't know what you're talking about either, so.
Oh, really? Okay, wait. Animes or Kydro? Have you heard of Kydro?
Nope.
It's like a webtoon. I would never ever read this in my whole life. And because it was on Ronin and they were like, check it out, I ended up reading like 5 chapters of something I never in my whole life would have looked at. And and now like they're all integrated. They have like, I think like the value that also Ronin brings is when they bring in their games, it's not just in that game. It's going to cross over into all of the Ronin games. So it's kind of like, now I can be my Kydro in Pixels, and then Luke could just tweet it out like, this is kind of like the start of it, kind of like it's going to kind of all IP is going to cross all these Ronin games together, So I think that's probably why Ragnarok chose to come to Ronin. If I had,
I just hope they fare better than Zoids. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's trade-offs, I think, with every decision that you have to make. And like, that's a pretty substantial one. But if you're a Web 2 company coming into Web 3 and you understand how hard it is to build an audience here for a foreign, invader to come in, like a Web 2 company, like you might make that decision. I could see why somebody would make that decision because they do not have that Web 3 support.
You get that fan base kind of like right away.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm just saying that is risky when you build on a permission chain that literally can tell you what to do or you're gone off their chain.
And the risk on the other side is that you could never get an audience to even see your game.
Exactly. So I understand from a business perspective why they chose Ronin, but me personally, after witnessing the Zoids situation, I can't in good faith ever recommend a dev to the Ronin chain until they go permissionless, which I did hear. I believe I heard rumor that this is going to happen in the future. I don't know when. I don't know if that's true. Rayon may have more insight, but I believe Ronin at some point will be a permissionless chain.
No, I don't know that for sure or anything like that, but I have seen a lot of talk about that because just like you, a lot of other gamers on the network there was something, what were we connecting to? I think it was Tribally or something like that. And we couldn't get something done that we wanted to get done. And so there was a lot of people like posting about it being like, we need to go permissionless. This is why, because we're like limited with access and things like that. And basically, what we're saying, you can't build how you want to build. And so I know there's been a lot of uproar about it, but I'm not too sure what in the roadmap for them if that's on their their list.
I hope it is, because otherwise it's really hard for me to watch a game build on Ronin, go through all these announcements. I also, now that I think about it, after the initial hype wave of Zoids, I don't even think I saw Ronin supporting their game after that. I would have to go. I'd have to go through the Twitter.
Right?
I'd have to go through the Twitter, because I'm not going to pretend like I got noties on and saw every single Ronin tweet ever. But I didn't see a lot of Ronin promoting Zoids after the initial hype wave. So I feel like the disagreement or whatever that was going on between the two companies probably started pretty early on.
Yeah, something must have gone awry in one of these behind the scenes conversations. Because I haven't really heard much about Zoids. Love the game. I thought it was super fun. But yeah,
I just love the IP. I'm not a TCG person, so I didn't dive in. And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have spent a ton of money on cards. And obviously those cards are probably worth nothing right now. Oh, but don't worry. They're doing some sort of buyback compensation. They got some sort of program for holders. So at least Ronin didn't leave everybody to hang out and dry.
It makes sense that Ronin would want to try to build a walled garden, though. If you could have an Apple-like ecosystem and be charging, kind of whatever, and keep everybody in your ecosystem, that makes sense, like from a business perspective. It's not.
I'm an Apple user, though.
It's not very Web3. It's not the ethos that we're all building around, decentralized, permissionless. You can go anywhere, but
I'm just saying, I'm in Apple, and they've removed Fortnite from my device.
Yeah.
They have also blocked me from downloading almost every Web3 game, because developers don't even want to build on iOS because terms of service and yada yada. So it sounds nice from a business perspective, and it probably
they're trying to hold on to these legacy power systems. Like, what has worked, and it's
they're trying.
Over time it doesn't work. I think that is the thesis, right? Like, that is why Web3 is building, but we're not there yet. Those ecosystems can still give value to games and gamers.
Well,
so they still exist.
Again, I got my fingers crossed. I hope that Ragnarok sees better success than Zoids did. I do hold some Ron. Like, I did a sponsored deal. So I got paid in a little bit of Ron, and I didn't even cash out on it. Their staking came out shortly after, and I've got Ron staked. So I'm letting you guys know I don't hate Ronin as a whole. I just hate some of their decisions.
Yeah.
And being permission and kicking people off.
That's what we understood.
Yeah.
And we're seeing eventually people vote with their dollars, right? We will see over time what people choose, and that's how the market should work. So it's good that we're testing these legacy systems in Web3 with the underlying technology, and we should hope that it eventually fails. Sorry.
well, if we're talking about like voting in dollars, for sure. We don't know what Ragnarok will do yet, right? But just using like Kaijo as the case study, no one knew where did they come from? They came to Ronin. They minted out 10,000, NFTs for 50 RON each. It's like $200. Like, that's pretty big to mint that. You know what I mean? And
how long will that sustain, though? And how many new things can they bring into the ecosystem, right? Like, that would work for you maybe the first time, but if they're asking you to do that 10 times a month, are you going to go in on every mint? And how long are people going to stay in these ecosystems? There's always a problem of diluting these audiences that you bring. They have value now, but will they retain that value? That's the question.
That's very true.
Well, I'm again, this is speculation, but if we see another situation on Ronin where they pull the plug on Ragnarok, my running theory then will be that they're only using these big IPs to get eyes on their chain. And then once the IP does not bend over to their will and do whatever exactly they want them to, they just pull the plug and move on to the next IP. That's the theory. Again, speculation, but we got to wait and see what actually happens with Ragnarok, because if they find success and they do well and there's no issues, then Ronin's got a big W on their hands, in my opinion. But if we do see a repeat scenario, I'm going to start raising an eyebrow and think Ronin's up to some shady shit. So,
oh my.
Yeah, well, I mean, we also don't know the specifics of that deal, right? I mean, it's a pretty big IP that works with the studio. That studio has the IP. Like, we don't know how much weight the IP also has on the whole thing compared to other situations. I mean, if you work with Fox, like, you can literally do nothing. They will have a saying in everything. And maybe that's the case as well. Maybe that IP has a lot more power over running some of those decisions if they think like it's going to damage the IP. it could be something different.
Mhm.
And hopefully maybe they learned from their previous experiences as well. I think we should, give them the benefit of the doubt of being like, we fucked it up once, maybe not try to repeat that. But but then, it's Web3. So every day I'm like, we are going somewhere. And then I feel like, okay, we're back to 2020. So whatever. So we'll see. But I would expect this to be extremely tricky for, three parties involved. There are, like risks there if radical decisions is taken too quickly, I think. And I mean, but I could see also being like, Ronin, they have money for developers, we'll go there. That's another aspect as well. Mm-hmm. Chains provide investments and money as well, and nothing new. So that could be that. But I hope you're right. I hope it go good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do like that IP as well.
You're like, don't ruin my IP. I like this IP.
Well, the IP kind of ruined them themselves
yeah.
a little bit, to be fair, because Ragnarok Online 2 did not fare as well as the first one by any means, and they eventually, from my understanding, stopped developing the MMO altogether. So Ragnarok has a cult following from the original games, but they have not been known to release new games successfully. So again, I got my fingers crossed for them. I'm hoping for the best. From my understanding, though, this is not an MMORPG or anything along the lines of the traditional Ragnarok format. So this may not even cater to the original audience. I think they're probably banking on the IP's name and trying to bring fans over to a new genre. If I remember correctly, this is going to be more of like I don't want to say an auto battler, but I think that's actually what people have been calling it. So I could be wrong. To me, it almost looked more like a turn-based JRPG situation, but turn-based, auto battler, whatever. It's some sort of not MMORPG, which is what Ragnarok has traditionally been. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the name does convince some players, but I think we're mostly going to see, as Rayon had mentioned, a lot of the Ronin folks supporting this one. I don't think we're going to see a lot of crossover from the original series. That being said, so the final topic, I'm actually kind of hyped about this. Did you guys see the new update for Uldor that they posted last week?
Oh,
The new character creator? Yes. You know what it reminded me of? That Harry Potter game where you had like super customization, but like almost better. Like I was like, whoa.
They're using AI, so you can use a prompt now to generate your character for you, but they still left in the manual adjustments and stuff that we're traditionally used to. So now I don't have to spend 4 hours designing my character. I can just type it in a prompt, tweak it, and then manually make those fine adjustments as I see fit. So I think this is actually really cool to see in an RPG game with the character customization, just because it's going to save players a lot of time. And of course, people are going to have fun with it and try to make like Squidward and other characters from other games and stuff like that. I think I
very
think this is actually,
and Graz, by the way, like Graz. I love to see, like, we've known him for so long at this space, and it's just awesome to see him having this success. And
I thought that was really cool, because when it comes to character creators, there's one of two things that happens anytime I get presented with a character creator. I either just hit random a bajillion times until I see something that's like, okay, I'll play that, or I will spend hours sitting there adjusting dials and tweaking every little detail, making my character just how I want it. Yes. And when I have to spend hours making a character, by the time I get done with my character, I'm like, do I ever want to play this game anymore?
The fun was the character.
There was the game. Oh my gosh.
I think it's amazing too, because AI is such a buzzword, so people just kind of throw that word around for attention. But it's like, here's a great use case for AI. It's like, okay, you're buzzword, but like its actual functionality is great, and we need that.
I want to see more AI in games. I know that there's this whole like anti-AI shtick out there, whatever, but I'm just thinking about how much more interactive it would be if I'm going to use, since I already talked about Star Citizen, let's use Star Citizen as an example. I'm walking through the space station and the NPCs around me are actually conversing with each other, and I can just walk up and join the conversation with them, and I can actually talk to them through my mic and they'll respond. That's kind of what I envision with AI, is using it for what we would traditionally use let's call it last gen AI, because let's be honest, NPCs in video games always have an algorithm or whatever, some set of code that instructs them how to behave. All we're doing is upgrading that system to something that is supported in real time and not hard coded.
I would love that. That immersion, my God, that would be amazing.
Think about like GTA 6, you walking down the streets, be able to start talking to NPCs, or you walk up behind somebody and pull your gun out, put your hands up, and they actually do it, you know? Like, the immersion level would just be so much better, because I hate walking up to an NPC, and every single time I start the dialogue, it's, hello, adventurer. Hello, adventurer. Be a little more dynamic.
You don't love that?
No. That's actually always been my greatest complaint, especially somebody who plays World of Warcraft like me that has to open vendors, and especially when you go to the goblins, time is money, friend. Time is money, friend. Time is money, friend. I don't care. If I could delete you as an NPC and remove your voice actor from existence, I would. I'm so sick of that voice line after 20 years.
I'm spicy today, Shuki.
I love it. It's funny.
I'm just saying, the same voice line in an MMO for 20 years. Not quite. I think it was like 19, but we're coming up on the 20-year mark next year. So
imagine they start not liking you because you don't like them, and then they're like, "I'm not gonna sell you anything anymore."
Oh, I would love that. I'd be like,
it's like,
you know, what I want then.
You have to earn their respect again in the voice chat. Apologize now.
But what if you actually could do that though?
I would love it. That'd be incredible.
Exactly.
Like, we need it. Why hasn't anyone done this?
It sounds weird, but you could actually form relationships of sorts with the characters in game. You find more attachment to them. Maybe you have that one. Very cool. Yeah. Maybe you have that one special vendor. It's some dude who just like, he opened up a shop on his last buck. He's $1 bajillion in debt, and you go and you support a small business.
You fall in love, and then you run off and get married.
No, you go and support small business,
and you have baby NFTs.
Upgrades his store, and he gets new wares, and you keep supporting him, and eventually he's the multi-million successful business owner, and the guy that you should have been buying stuff from all along, who was already successful, their business goes under because he took over. Boom! Like, you could generate literal story arcs off of the AI interactions.
That poor billionaire. Oh my God.
Oh no, the poor billionaire.
Not the billionaires.
I'm just sounds like real life to me.
Yeah. Imagine that games essentially could never end because they are constantly evolving in living universes.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's super cool.
That's what I
like that idea.
Villains could form. Like, let's say you're a superhero MMO. Villains could form, and they're the new raid boss. You're in GTA 5, but there's a new crime syndicate in town. Some dude took over, killed the old gang, and took their territory. All this extra stuff could be generated
anymore. Like, let's just not live life and do this instead.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I know some people like go out and touch grass. I'd be like, no, I'd rather touch space.
I used to think you're in real life.
Hang on, I gotta unplug myself.
Wait, am I a simulation? Oh, I think I am.
Yeah, this is a simulation for sure.
I think I would have the most fun just like as a moderation system, where it's like everyone who's naughty in the game have the AI knowing about it and trying to make the people apologize in front of everyone else on the microphone and be like, NPC is going into, you have to say sorry. That's your punishment. And you have to earn your respect back.
I think that's cool, because think about it. Like, what if I go, let's use GTA as an example again, right? What if I go on a killing spree and the AI, the cops call in the news station, right? And the news station plasters my picture across all the TVs. I'm sitting there trying to buy something at a gas station. They call the cops on me. Next thing I know, I'm in a shootout at a gas station trying to get out of the gas station alive, right? Like, that's the kind of stuff these types of tools could really bring. I don't know why players are so against it. Oh, they're going to take people's jobs. Okay, did Photoshop take over traditional media? You still have traditional artists making money today. Not every industry is going to cater and accept every single artist in the world. These are not necessarily costing people their job, as long as there is a human behind it every time. Because let's be honest, AI is not flawless, and there still needs to be a human going back and double checking and adding that heartfelt touch to it, right? So I'm just saying, I don't think this is taking jobs.
For now, we need that. for now.
When you said take over their jobs, I thought you meant the NPCs for some reason. I was like, oh,
don't take the NPCs jobs.
No, that's the new iRobot game. That's the new iRobot game.
No, but that's a good South Park now. Good job.
I'm just
went
saying,
downhill fast.
you still need people to go through and fine tune the algorithms. You have to make sure that certain phrases aren't being said. You know, there's still a lot of human interaction required, even in the use of AI. And all these stories and stuff that could be generated, there could be some checks and balances in places. Like before it occurs in the game, a moderator has to approve this interaction happening because maybe it doesn't make sense for the storyline or something like that. So not only could this alleviate the programming side and open up more content options without necessarily requiring more development, but this could also open up new jobs, like those, again, the moderation type of stuff that I'm talking about, where people have to gauge and have an understanding of the world and the game systems to know whether or not this change that the AI wants to make can be approved. So you're not just getting rid of jobs, you're actually creating additional jobs when you think about it.
I would have an
You're
AI
quite a
doing
politician.
Because I wouldn't have an AI having final say on everything. Like, there's no way. There's no
that. But we
way.
would have an AI to moderate the other AI. That's what most people would try to
Yeah.
do.
I
guarantee you that.
That's when people are just trying to save a buck, and that's what I'm not for. I am not. I am for the ethical use of AI. That's what
Every
I call
time
it.
I get on this train of thought, it just gives me a headache. There's too many implications to think of. There's just too much.
AI to AI. But yeah, I think I agree. And I think the thing is, like, the adoption of AI, I don't necessarily agree that it's because players don't want them. I think many developers don't want them. That's like, you go to GDC and you're going to have tons of people in the industry saying, we don't want to hear about, AI generated narrative stuff and so on. And the thing is, it's more about like the format you use to interact is AI powered, but the content is still mostly done by people. And I think that's what we've been very bad at telling what is it that we actually want, is this experience kind of empowered through AI, not the content generated just by AI. But I think that's one thing that we're really bad at doing. But the other thing as well is a game that relies on AI interactions or AI powered interactions. It sounds very, very heavy from the tech side of things. It can be very slow. It can be tricky.
It's already been
done. So that's another thing as well.
It's actually already been done. There was a modder who made a mod for Grand Theft Auto 5 that did exactly that. And Rockstar sent a cease and desist. They were like, no, stop. And the thing is, everybody mods GTA 5. Why did they go after this specific add-on?
I guess it does threaten their jobs, right? That's why they're so against it. They're just like, this could kind of, replace some of what we do. So, the fear is there.
Well, they also started buying up mod studios. Some of the, if I remember correctly, the largest, I think it was 5M. I can't remember that Rockstar bought up one of their largest modding organizations, and I got a feeling they're doing this because they want to have complete control over the game, which understandable. Not
permissionless. Wait, what? No.
Yeah, we're basically back on that whole train ride. But I get where they're coming from as a business. But me as the consumer, once I buy your game, I should be able to do what I want with it. If I want to throw extra skins and stuff like that, the only exception, because obviously that's a very blanket statement, anything online. Like if I'm playing online, I get that you don't want people cheating and hacking. You want full control over the game files and stuff like that. Fully understand. But in the case of something like a mod that adds AI to your NPCs, do you really think that was C&D worthy? Especially when you allow people to make custom NPCs and stuff as it is, it's just not using AI.
I mean, modding and
bit aggressive,
it's tricky, because modding in GTA like 5M is I could see them buying 5M if they like help us to actually make our game, modding ready for the next one even better, because that's something they have tried to do for a very long time. It's very political and so on. But when there is a risk of your game being used through certain mods that could go out of control, it gets risky for everyone. And maybe there would have been a better way of handling it, but it would have ended up to be the same results in the end, I think. It's tricky. I know what you mean, but I think like it can get out of hand really, really quickly. And I think online like that, it's risky because like you are supposed, even if you mod the game, it's still content that is in the game most of the time. So if you use the online access for things, it's tricky. But I hope they would actually learn and be like, hey, people actually want that. This is what I want to see. I want to see like big studios being like, people who are actually interested in this AI stuff. Like World of Warcraft, Blizzard does that. You know, like they've had people making mods, and then they're like, let's just make it a feature.
Here's the sticky situation with Grand Theft Auto, though. Players host their own servers. These are not Rockstar controlled servers. So whatever goes on this game and goes on the servers, it's the players' decisions. They support mods. There's a lot of modded servers out there that have completely altered the game. They've altered the story. They've set up their own arcs between players. I worked at a weed shop in one of the servers. Like, there's a lot that's already going on, and Rockstar doesn't go after those modders. They went after this one purely because of the AI element that wasn't even running on their official servers, and the guy wasn't even playing online when he was demoing it. He was actually offline. So in a situation like this, it feels like the only thing that separated him from the normal mods is the fact that it used AI. And they did not like that.
They were scared.
Or it could be that it wasn't his take or their take. And then someone went after Rockstar to tell them, you have to do something about that. Because that is also another thing where it's like, someone is using our take in your game. We don't like that. So do something about it right now. And And also Rockstar does not support modding. They tolerate it. It's different. So they could. So there's a big difference. And I guess we could be happy that they tolerate it, but they don't really actively support it as much as some other studios where they're like, here are the tools and here's how you do things. You know what I mean? But you kind of need in those games though.
Bethesda's games only survive because of mods, and they know it.
They're like, can you mod our game better, please?
When's the last time you heard about Starfield?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The last thing I heard about Starfield was that the modders said the game was too boring to mod, and they gave up.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that it works most of the time. That's the only one that they were like, you know what, we're gonna allow mods, and the modders were like, not this time. We're not fixing it for you this time. We fixed the last 20 years of games for you. You do your job this time.
They're like, hire me then. Come on.
Yeah, you remember the time you tried to monetize our mods on Steam? Actually, we don't mind if you do that for that game. We don't mind doing it for that.
And the thing is, though, like in the case of Rockstar, though, I kind of get it. I do kind of get it. I just don't agree with it. Because again, I would love to see a game like theirs. Maybe we'll see it in GTA 6. Maybe that's why they went after them. They were like, this is a feature coming in GTA 6. People don't need to know about this. I don't know.
Hopefully, maybe
again,
that'd be cool.
I love that. I love the GTA. Next GTA is to be more open, more modding. It basically keeps the game alive. Seriously, so many people buy like the game to play on 5M right away. They don't even finish the story.
Guilty.
Like,
Guilty.
Wait, Grand Theft Auto has a story?
Wait, what? Oh, wait, it does? No, wait.
No, I'm actually for real. I bought the game specifically to go play on other servers, especially modded servers. I still to this day have not beaten the campaign. I don't even think I've made it past an hour in the campaign.
That's the power of community right there. There you go.
If I want a single player story driven experience, it's not going to be as a human shooting up a city. I'm just saying, I role play a human every day. If I play a game, it's to escape from being a human. So
True.
I shoot up cities every day. If I play a game, it's not going to be to shoot up cities.
You know, it's ironic that you say that because Grand Theft Auto is probably the only time, especially when you're on a role-playing server and you actually have cops and stuff that enforce laws and stuff. I actually drive the speed limit and follow stop signs and everything.
I love that.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine in game. In real life, on the other hand, well, 5 miles over the speed limit is not speeding, okay?
Yeah, we got places to be.
So what you're saying is that there should be a play to earn game, but with role play, where people earn money through their role playing and doing their job in the GTA game. Basically.
What kind of
wow.
role playing? What kind of role playing are we talking here?
Ooh.
Like, I think what can I put? Hold on a minute here. Okay, let's
Sorry,
clarify.
I couldn't help it.
Well, you both get paid, so there you go. I was about to say the one you play the cop, but yeah, that doesn't work either.
Sorry, I ruined your show, Chinky.
No, you're good. You're good. This is great. But we are at the end of the show. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Nope.
Nope. Not after that one.
X-rated part of the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for us. This was another great episode of the Block Sauce. But before we come to close, got to make sure that we say farewell to our guests. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Mikkel, Nico, and Rayan. Also, if I'm saying your name wrong, please let me know. I've heard it pronounced a few different ways. Rayan,
you got it. That's
Rayan?
it.
Okay, cool.
Rayan.
Perfect. So, remember, the sauce never stops flowing. Stay connected with us on social media. Share your thoughts, suggest future gaming and Web3 topics that you want us to tackle because your voice matters too. That's going to be it for us today, those sauce enthusiasts. Join us next time for another thrilling episode of The Block Sauce where we'll keep the gaming flame alive and the discussion sizzling. Stay saucy and keep gaming in the exciting realm of Web3. Thank you and have a good one. Bye-bye.